guys, it's Arlene. I'm here with a quick tutorial. I had several questions about how I created this mini album using this Sizzix die, and this is the Ornate Tri-fold Card XL, gosh, I can't even say this, XL die by Sizzix, and I got this in a rack from Vanjie, and I believe she had picked this up at bloominscrapbooking.com. I'm not sure if they still have it there, but you can check it out. But this is what the die looks like when you cut it out, okay, or what the die cut looks like when you cut it out. And the pages of this mini album on my latest project is created using this die. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like when you cut it out. It looks like this, and I'm using a double-sided paper, and this is from the King Company's the paper that I'm using is from King Company's Glad Tidings Specialty Paper Pad, and this is what it looks like. These papers are gorgeous, you guys, and it goes perfectly with a lot of their other Christmas collections because it's just pretty. The colors are so pretty, and this kind of like a toned down green and red, so a little bit more vintage in color. So this is what it looks like once you cut it out with your Big Shot or Cuttlebug or whatever die cutting system that you're using, and you'll see that it instantly scores the lines here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get my bone folder, and I'm going to go ahead and fold this page like I normally would, okay, because it's a tri-fold, so you would fold one page the way you normally would. So I'm going to have this one fold down this way, and I'm just going to go ahead and score it at the score line, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the other flap in the other direction, okay, this way. It's really, really easy, you guys, and it creates two pockets, okay. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is, since I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did the binding. But first what I do is I took my 1-inch Martha Stewart circle punch, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the little dip in the pocket so I can reach out the tag. Okay, and I just kind of eyeball it, and I don't know if you guys know this, but all of your punches have a little line that notes the halfway mark for your punch. So that's how I lined up the page. Okay, what I'm going to do next, okay, so this is the little, just so you guys know what I'm doing here. So what I did is I just punched this little half circle where the tag's going to go. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take my Vintage Photo Distress ink, and I'm going to go ahead and edge the paper. And why I like to do this is a lot of designer papers are white in the core. So when you die cut it, as you can see, the edges are white. I like to finish off those edges. I don't like my edges to be white. So as you can see, when you ink it, the white edges go away. I don't know if you guys can see that. But anyways, I like to do that just to finish off the edges a little bit. So sometimes you'll see in my projects I'll either use distress ink or sometimes I'll use acrylic paint, dauber paints like this. Okay, so dauber paint, sometimes I'll use the dauber to edge my paper. And that's just, you know, like I said, just to finish off the page, to give it a finished look. Okay, so that part's okay. I'm just going to edge this part. So any parts that are showing. Okay, see how I just edged that? And then this part's not going to show because I'm going to adhere it down, but this part will be showing. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this part. Okay, so I've already edged everything. And of course my paper is going to be going this way because you can see that. So what I like to use to adhere my paper down is sticky strip. And this is sticky stuff that I purchased off Jody, and I have Jody's link on the sidebar of my blog if you're interested. And she sells the most amazing sticky stuff, you guys. I get all of my black pop dots, super sticky, will never come off. And I get some of my other adhesives. These are really cool. I love these circle pop dots, or they're not pop dots, they're just flat dots, but they're like the sticky strips, so they aren't going anywhere. So I love working with those too, and those are all available through Jody. So what I like to do is I take my sticky strip, and you'll need your non-stick scissors. I like to use my craft scissors by Tim Holtz. And I'm going to be putting sticky strip along the sides here, and that's going to create the first pocket. I'm not going to take that off yet because I'm going to do the binding. Totally forgot. On this side here, I like to use the dimensionals because it makes the pocket a little bit, it lets the pocket give just a little bit so you can have tags with pictures layered on top fit better instead of the fit being too tight. Okay, so after I stick that down, you'll see that it gives a little bit of dimension in the pocket. That way I can insert a tag. And I'll show you how I make the tag too as well. So what I want to go ahead and do is show you guys how I did this binding. Okay, the string binding. All I did, and you'll need a ruler. I love my Tim Holtz ruler, but you'll need a ruler where you can find the center of the page because you want to be able to measure equally. So what I do is I take my 0 and find the center of the page. And it looks like the center of my page is going to be right there. And it's about a little bit more than 2 1/8 on either side. So now what I want to do is I want to mark it at the 1.5 from the center, 1.5 from the center. So I'm just going to mark it right there. And over here, 1.5 from the center and mark it right there. And then what I'm going to do is take my crocodile and, oops, got some residual punches falling out on me here. I'm going to take the smallest punch, and that's the 1/8. Is that an 1/8? Yeah, an 1/8. And I'm going to go ahead and punch out where I marked with my ruler. And I want to make sure I center it right on the score line. Okay, right there. Now what I want to do is I mentioned to you guys that I use the shipping tags from Staples, and what I do is I just take the string right off from the shipping tag and I save them because you never know when you're going to use them. And I use them for binding. So you just stick the string through there like so. Okay, this is where you're going to be adhering it down on the sides, and you want to make sure the strings stick out there. Okay. Now I'm just going to go ahead and adhere the pocket down. Just remove the sticky strip. And eventually when you create all your pages, you're going to have all these strings and you're going to be tying them together. Okay, so now on this side, I'm just going to go ahead and take these off. And then you just fold it down and over. Okay, so there you go. You have a pocket on this side, and this is the page, and then you have a pocket on this side. And then how I created the tags, let me just get some stuff out of the way here. The tags are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And the Webster's Pages paper that I used on this mini album are really thick, so I didn't have to layer the paper on chipboard, because normally I would if the design paper was thin. But this Kane Company paper is actually pretty thick too, so I am not going to layer it. Just get stuff out of the way here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the designer paper, and you want to use double-sided paper, obviously, if you're going to just use paper, so that you have design on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and cut it at 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I got 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to use my crocodile, or my corner chomper, and I'm going to round the edges, and I'm going to use the 1/4 setting. And that's just to give it a little finished look. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my vintage photo, or what you can do is you can go ahead and spray it. I think I'll go ahead and do that. Because like I said, I'm using this for a finished project, so I'm going to be thorough. I'm going to go ahead and use the Glitz Spritz, the Desert Moon Cactus Gold, and this will give gold shimmer without color, and I love that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and spray both sides and heat set. all that shimmer, you guys. It's just so amazing. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my vintage photo now, and I'm just going to go ahead and edge it to finish off the edges of the paper. And once you start layering and matting some photos on here, the curliness, you won't even be able to tell. And it's just curling just a little bit because, you know, obviously when you spray it with your sprays, it's going to absorb into the paper and cause it to curl just a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use my round label punch. This is what it looks like. It's glaring, sorry guys. And some designer paper from the same collection. And I'm going to go ahead and use this one. It's really pretty. It's a polka dot. And I'm just going to go ahead and punch that out. Again, I'm all about the finished edges, so I'm going to go ahead and edge it with vintage photo. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and score it at the halfway mark. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and finish that off. And I just take my ATG. Sometimes I'll use my quick dry adhesive. It just depends on my mood. And let's see, where do I want the top to be? We'll just stick it right here. Okay, and you just kind of eyeball the center. Okay, just like that. And that's done, guys. It's really easy. And then you just stick it in here. Okay, so there's your tag. And then you just layer it with photos or whatever. Do whatever you want to do there. And then on this side, I also created these tags the same exact way that you just saw. The only difference is I layered some Coordinations cardstock behind the designer paper. And let me see if I can get the measurements for you guys. And the measurements of these tags are 4 by 3.5. So super easy, same concept, so I'm not going to show you how I did that, but that's how I created that. So anyways, guys, that's the tutorial on, where did I take this from? That's the tutorial on how I created the pages for this mini album. And again, to tie this, and I don't have, okay, so let's just pretend this is the other page, right? This is the other page, and it has strings hanging from it. What I do is I take the strings from one page and then put one page on top, tie them together. And then I take another page, put that on top with the strings, and I tie the strings from that page to this page. So I just start tying them all together. And once I have it all together, I just grab the ends and I just tie it together in a big knot in the center. So that's really easy. That's how I do it and how I do the binding. And yeah, and it works for a bulky mini album. It's actually pretty cool. So anyways, if you have any questions, leave a comment. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.